Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Michael Venezia, head trader and one of the coaches at TradeView Markets. And it is was one of those weeks. It's Friday, it's August 5th. It doesn't really matter. You know what? The one thing that I don't really believe in that much more as where it seems almost like on a daily basis, but at least, recently, if you will, that there have been barriers that have been broken, or you know what I mean, like things that haven't happened in 20 years, 30 years. The bond market, Walmart hasn't had a move since one day down since the Great Depression, and the bond market hasn't had a move since 1978, 1988, actually. So you know what, the one thing that I think consistently that I don't really believe in anymore is a lot of it's seasonality. And I say that because it's August 5th, and not that seasonality, there's always another trade, and it really doesn't, it kind of really doesn't matter. It's not one of the tools that I use. But seasonality, just, there's always a bull market somewhere, as Jim Cramer says. So we got to take this day by day. One thing I don't really, so as I said, August 5th, there's a lot going on. It's a Friday. I don't believe people in the Hamptons or anything like that. If there's money to be made, and there's a lot of volatility and a lot of movement, contrary to the VIX being so low, but you have stocks that are up 10-20%, having 20-30% ranges on the day. So okay, let's log into TGH. I'll submit my preferences. How you doing? Okay, I log in. This is how I log in the morning. So you know what? One thing we do here is we stick to what we say at TradeGATEHub. Okay. So obviously this Lewis, nice job. Gap now closed in the NDX. Okay, I'm going to get into specific things here today. And if you really want it, if you're a follower or if you're new, or actually, let me digress. If you're new to it, go to the TradeGate, the TGH YouTube channel, starting with Monday, which is our most important one, arguably, if you will. It's the most amount of data we put out. Not only that, I almost want it to be like a trickling or dynamic rolling. It's not. I don't. It's just not 9:30 to 4 to me, and I don't think it's a 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern, if you will, or just normal market hours for most anymore. And it shouldn't be, because there's, I won't be dramatic, but there's just as much opportunity going out, outside those normal market hours, which I don't know are normal. So the thing is, start with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Coach and I do a video each a day. Sans Thursday for me, but I'm going to start doing Thursday. I'm not going to lie. It's actually helping me more than it's actually helping me as well. Doing these, it's almost like when you wrote flashcards down at school and you kept repeating it. So at the very least, it's helping me and Coach and a lot of others in the room. So get back to the YouTube channel, start on Monday. Here we are on Friday. And not only that, just, the data that I put out, or we put out, is very consistent, almost to the degree in order. So, the key to what I learned in business and many other businesses across the board, even with the CEO, Tim, is that you have got to be consistent. That's definitely one thing we are. Okay, and this will show you what the consistency is. So here we are, signed on Friday morning, and we had the unemployment. We had the unemployment number, and the one theme that I want to stick to right now is, as you see the market that was down, what, 3, 4, 4, 4, maybe 4 or 5 handles went positive. That were waffling in between, to no surprise. And let me go to my chart for a second before I get into TGH. Here's the chart on the SPYs. So no surprise here that, is it over? Hold on, SPY daily. Is it over? No, I don't think so. You know what I mean? It might be the line in the sand. I posted a couple of charts on the Qs yesterday. And several people that I follow, you know what I mean? I get it. The market needs rest. The inflation, the employment number that came out this morning turned the market around from, they could have really really hit it hard today. And by the way, I don't want to say they should have, but it does go back to my Twitter feed today. It does bring inflation and the Fed back on the table. So let me go back to here, starting from early. But by the way, guys, thank you for posting, even overnight. I read it all. I go back over. Excuse me. Okay, coin pullback. Where are we today? No, let me refresh this. Team did a very good job of keeping the data. Was that okay? Today. All right. Short term, we're overbought, But you know what? I don't make this up. Google Bank of America Bull and Bear indicator. Okay, they're still extremely bearish, and here's the everybody still remains extremely bearish, almost historically bearish. Blow up the chart. I'm going. This is a pretty decent sample size, and that's been very consistent. Going back again. Hold on, let me cover something. Going back again here. Hold on, let me go to share. I don't know what page. Yeah, new share. Going back again here. Okay. Macro, and this is on the public feed, macro hedge funds exposure via McElligott. Okay, right here, macro hedge, high frequent hedge fund performance correlation. They're still underexposed. As a matter of fact, they're short. They're not even in the market yet. And here's why the rally via JP Morgan. So I give you a lot of different tools in a lot of areas. I'm not, I'm not here to give my opinion. I'm always mixed. I'm I'm on both sides. So I'm really always working something. So once again, if you're new to it, go to the data. We give you the JP Morgan news. I give you the Goldman indicator. I give you the Bank of America indicator. Now, once again, these are just tools. You sit down and eat a meal. You have a fork, a spoon, a knife, a plate, and got, a couple of cocktail glasses if you're lucky. But you know what I mean? This is just one tool. So that is what leads this type of bounce when everybody couldn't believe that people still are underinvested, even some of the guys that I follow. And what leads to this is two things. Short covering. Everybody's basically underexposed, and fear. It's not fear of missing out. We're getting into August here, and even though the Nasdaq's down, still 18-20%, it's really fear of underperforming at this point, because there are stocks that do look okay, as opposed to maybe a month ago when we were still, we were still wondering if it was peak inflation. They are good sentiment tools, Coach. You know what? Because anybody could do this, and I appreciate that. And going back to Gerard or even Joba when they ask me questions. This is what you want to look at something. This is what you do. You want to look at something that's empirical. Here it is, barchart.com. You go to stocks, go to percent change. All right. And you go to volume. So this is percent change with volume. DraftKings is in the news, fundamental news. It had earnings. It has 31 million shares as opposed to 18 million. It's almost done 2 times its normal volume. The market's not even open for 2 hours. And I could say the same for a bunch of them. Lyft, Fubo, look at what they're doing. Carvana, 30% short. Siga, I yelled at it 3 times in the room for a new high. What am I looking at Siga? I'm going off in tangents. Don't worry about it. Siga, another one I said 3 times today. Look at that. It did break a new high, actually rested. If it closes below a new high, I kind of wouldn't like it on some macro, some micro trading view, but okay. So the tools that Coach was commenting on are actually applauding, and he uses the same. And I know Coach, he's been doing this longer than me. He does not have an ego. It works. Part of a tool. It's part of his plan. Let me go a step further. I don't think that I'm necessarily any better trader. I might have maybe slightly better worth ethic than most. I don't necessarily have the plan. It's not the book. You know what I mean? Like in what's that? Back to the Future. I'm not Biff. I don't have the future, the answers to all the future games. It's just that my plan, I might execute my plan better than most people execute their plan. You know what I mean? So I don't, I'm not the judge and the jury. What I do like is stocks with price action. Price action means if the stock is up $4 and the futures come in a little bit, the stock acts accordingly. I like range. I like, I'm a trader. I like there to be movement, and I like price and volume. It's got to be volume. I don't want to be stuck. Look at Nerve. What happened with Nerve yesterday? Everybody, that you just those 3 fundamental keys are what, from what I understand, and I'm doing this a quarter century now, that are maybe not the 3 top things, 3 out of the top 5 to 7 things: price action, range, and definitely volume. So that's what we do. So you know what? You want to be you want to stick, like I said before, you want to stick to 930 to 4. Here are stocks with good range, good price action, and good volume. Same on the other side with declines. How you doing? Excuse me. So same thing here. So you know what? You don't even have to do it. You can go 5-day gainers if you're a concentrator like myself to a degree. Here you go, 5 days high. So or even go to stockscanner.com. Okay. So what's moving up now as of punch up time? 11 KHC, OLPX, TRIP. So they're going into oils and that's not good, somewhat cyclicals. What's moving down now as of, and by the way, this only has a 5-second delay. So FANG, they're taking a couple of oils, FANG, APA, OKE, banks and oils are going down now. So they're rotating as you and, so that's what we look at. Another one, up high in relative volume. You have a problem. If you don't like bar chart, go to this. Just click relative volume. And here are the stocks with the most highest relative volume of the day. Beyond, Net, Carvana, to no surprise, also on the list. DraftKings, the first two that I brought up before. So you want to, this is another tool that I use. It's a major tool, but getting back to what Coach said, sentiment. And listen, I'm not the guy that goes, if 1,000 people bet the Patriots and nobody likes the Cowboys, I'm going to bet the Cowboys for the hell of it. But when there's predominant underfunding and everybody is consistently, as the market goes up everybody's fighting the trend. So on any dip, you would think, as I posted it 1,000 times, that these the CTAs, the hedge funds are not only underfunded, they're somewhat short to a degree. It doesn't mean that I personally don't think we're going to make new lows. The market's giving us good range and good volume and good volatility. So you know what? It doesn't really matter. And I will say one more thing. The macro theme for me is I'm still having a little bit of trouble, a trepidation, placing money on, longer term. I'm taking stocks. I'm probably not holding as long as I would like to, but I'm not giving away profits. So either. So that's it's another area, macro area that I'm looking to personally. Okay, let's keep going here. Giddy up. All right. Short-term sentiment, we're up there. All right, short-term, but we stretch it out. It's not that bad. Also, I give you movers that was out last night in an amended situation. Those were pre-market movers as of 11:10 Eastern. So what? Net was up there. DraftKings. Okay, so draft as of what was this? 8:10 Eastern, and as of 11:15 Eastern. Like I said before, DraftKings and Carvana is not only on our movers in the morning, it's also on the majority of scanners that you should be, you have to be watching. Run another one in the fun for the family. What's going up here? Something's going funky. That's all right. Okay. So, another one. Let me get that. Somebody emailed me. Text me, iRobot, CGC, I'm giving you movers, inside days. These are stocks that without a scanner are just telling you, like, it's almost like a resumption day. A stock has a 10% move, 2 days ago, and it has, a small range the next day. It's certainly due to ignite either one way or the other, because the stock doesn't, move 15 to 20 or even 10% and die out and move and have a 0.5% range outside of some sort of bond offering. You know what I mean? So I give you inside days and bullish outside days. Nothing that anybody else would do it either, but it's consistent. And even with the plan here, it's important. There's a lot of data out here. There's a lot, and I try to condense it, and I try to narrow everybody's learning curve. And it's not my plan. It's not my system. I'm giving you from what I learned, and I learned at a very high level, no question. To comprising a plan. I mean, everybody has their own things, or maybe. But that's what I do, and I'm X by H. Thank you, Coach. Twilo had range. Lewis was on it. Good job, Lewis. There's our plan. I'll say it again. The Rev was right. There's no playbook for this market. There are no economic conditions we have not. These are economic conditions we have not experienced before. So with conditions that we haven't experienced before, it's kind of really hard to be adamant or stick my toe in, or actually go in both feet. It gets back to my first point, how I really don't believe in seasonality, because if economic conditions are what we experienced before, how can seasonality go, be correlated or go parallel with it? I'll always stick to range, price action, and volume though. Morning, yes, we navigated a beauty. We did, guys. I appreciate that. Noted Joe, well above, buckle up. DLO positive, nice positions. We actually took some off before the market pulled back a little bit. DLO. I took some off, still above the 200. I'll get back to it before. Twilo, today's material. Lewis, listen, the best thing that Lewis has grown as a trader is his focus and awareness. And it was materials and industrials and energy early on. He's aware. Lewis is aware that Square is even positive, and that's a good job, Lewis. Joba, G Money. G Money letting us know what happened this morning, first and foremost. And I'm glad you have confidence to post, Gerard. Don't worry about it. See, first thing we did, some massive earnings. So that was something for me to build a plan off of, because he did that 8 hours ago. And that was like probably 4 in, because he's in Austria. Well, excuse me, Jay, I didn't mean to give you where you are. You're around, you're not in the US. We're confidential. What stays in TG, what happens in TGH stays in TGH. By the way, I'm serious. Great post by Joba. It really was. If it wasn't, I would tell you, and I'd say let's stick to different things here. Very, very macroscopic. That's fine. Pins, square positive, DraftKings and Nirvana. So unusual stocks going there. I try to condense it from my experience, what's moving, to go boom. DraftKings and Nirvana were moving. And that was what? Some time ago. They're ripping. So there's my hedge funds. Now, if you go to hedge funds here, 0 means underexposed. Every time they've been underexposed, the market goes up. It's going to be nasty, in my opinion. You know what? You want the market to pull back now. This is beautiful. It's pulling back a little bit. Yes, I do, Lewis. Lewis is asking, do you think the lack of institutional hedge fund equity exposure could affect, you spelled it correctly, or with an A more sustainable run? All right, so let's look, Lewis. And why would it, I'm going to give you what I base my opinion on. Chart on Microsoft on a daily, above the 200-day, flagging. A chart of Apple. Look at this. Certainly not going to, if Apple makes new lows, we have something, a lot of more things to worry about. Certainly could pull back to the 200-day, it would be healthy. But, this is, you want to fear of missing out. This is not, Apple's not fear of missing out. This is a fear of managers underperforming. They got to get into this. How can you not explain? How can someone explain not holding Apple here? You had time. It based here. It had the nice run and base with all the averages moving up, even with the gap at 154. So, all right, let's look at another one. Let's look at the, okay, so Square, where everybody knows that Square and Zoom and, and Baba even are not going to go to all-time highs. But you know what? The new leaders in the group have certainly been acting well, and this is a time when new leaders pop out. AMD right here, boom, there's the flag. Have a look at CF, new leader. Let's look at the ExxonMobil, nice pullback. So you know what I'm saying? Look at Team, a stock like Team that we hold in the fund. So I don't think it's going to go back to 520 anytime soon, but the market is rotating. Listen, I'm not saying that Carvana, by the way, was Carvana, the high-end Carvana, where was it? 48. It's always, listen, you want to talk, the one thing that I have to keep on my new queries is volume. You want to know what volume tells the story on Carvana? See the volume spike, the big volume spike on Carvana. So it had a range from like 40, the big spike range. Let's go to 1 minute. I'm going to teach you how to concentrate. Sorry. It's like teaching someone how to do, well, you know what, I'm not going to use a bad analogy. So the range in Carvana, when it had that big volume spike, the biggest spike of the day, I would say it was between 46, 60, and 48. So as you go with this type of trade, you're going to be wrong before you could be right. But volume always tells the story. They capitulated. The stock went from 34 to 48, $14. The big volume spike was them, just an explosion, them lining everybody up and saying, that's it, I've had enough. And that was the volume spike. And usually short-term capitulation is predicated upon a volume spike. And that was evidence there. What's another one that might have done a move like that? DraftKings. All right, so DraftKings had the big volume spike. What is this right there? Around 18. It went to 19.5, but it was right where the volume spike went. So it might not have hurt. But you know what? DraftKings not that heavily short as Carvana. When something is heavily that shorted, it usually has some sort of throw in the towel capitulation. So do I think institutional hedge funds? Well, by what I see, Lewis, and again, everybody has to understand that I don't make up these indicators. These are major indicators that a lot of guys use. Hedge funds are underexposed. Let me go to something right here. CTAs are underexposed. And if they are underexposed, you've got to figure out which one. Are they going to be the new leaders? I certainly don't going to believe they're necessarily going to be the laggards. You know what? Maybe Twilo is not the company we thought it used to be, but maybe ON Semiconductor certainly is, right? So just because there's just like what your teacher used to say when you're a kid, just because there's a few bad apples in the bunch, don't try to gauge that on the overall market or time the market. But Lewis is asking a fair question, and it's a very good question. And it's, do I think that the market is going to hold because of lack of institutional hedge fund exposure? I'm not as exposed as I am, certainly. And look at Amazon, another chart of Amazon. These are, I don't think these are not short squeezes in such heavily weighted and big volume stocks as Amazon or let's say Roku. Well, Roku's going nowhere. Netflix, the same category. We'll go to the big daddies, Amazon, Roblox. So, you got to look for the leaders. It's healthy if the leaders rest a little bit and the laggards do follow suit. But you don't want the leaders to run away, because then they all become a crowded trade. Everybody just buys the cues then. But yeah, listen, let's look at Citibank. Yeah, you just got, look, it's going to take some time, Lewis. I would love to, I really want to say the worst, I believe, is over. Look at RKT. I bought that one. Insiders are buying RKT left and right. I did nail it. I got to take something off here. What's happening? Chewy, cover some Chewy. Why did I short Chewy? Okay, this is why I shorted Chewy. There's the chart on Chewy. 44.7. I just covered 42.70. Might go lower. Chewy's never made a new high with the Nasdaq. It's still under the 200-day doing 200-day pressure. It's still above the 50-day, which everybody knows is the key to me, is the basic line in the sand to gauge a long-term or swing trade short. So I don't think Chewy's going back to the 50-day, which is 38.14, but it had 200 days moving. The markets I thought was a little toppy. So it went from 44.80 to 42.60. Decent trade. Uber, Lyft, Nerve. How about Nerve going higher now? Here's Nerve. Watch Nerve percolating. Matter of fact, I'll buy a little bit more Nerve. Arca. Not going to get by me, Nerve. All right, DraftKings. Lyft had numbers. Okay. Lyft had earnings, right? So I saw that Uber very early in the morning was not little stretched. I don't think it's going back. I want to probably buy. Actually, you know what? I'm noting Uber a little stretched. But Uber in the morning, his Lyft was up nicely. It took a while for it to go. And I watched it last night. Uber could have popped nicely, and it didn't. It was only up like 30 cents. His Lyft was up $2. It's a bull trap, Joba. All right. Why do you think it's well, you know what, Joba? We're going to have you on one day. You're going to be a guest speaker, maybe next week. But if you can somehow expand on why you think it's a bull trap, I'm open to opinions. Certainly, there are more stocks acting weaker than you would like. CF, I covered that right before I came on the air, you bastard. All right, Joba, we would like your dissertation, please, at your earliest convenience. You know what? I would I know why, and you're not alone. But I want to know, just to get as a trader, because you're very active in the room. We appreciate it. I want to get to know why you think so. So let's go back to the wise guys right now and leave it off at that. As a Friday closes down 11:25. MEG, appears to want to go down. First 50 minutes on the day, no down ticks. Next 50 minutes, no up ticks. That's why we shorted a little bit. Idiots open MEGL. IPO Dave, one of the shortest guys, smartest guys out there. It's an IPO, not interested. Still trading with no green to red mindset. Always going to trade sharp, dude. Okay, let's go with the big daddy things. Hold on. Few things going against the bulls here. Okay, an elevated anti-VIX, which means the VIX is so low. Tightening of financial conditions are pretty sloppy out there. There is weakness out there which could help alleviate some of the issues. You want the weakness. You know what I mean? That's up to Joba to think if it's a time for him. Gerard thinks it's a bull trap too. He gave a thumbs up to Joba. But you know what, Joe? That's why it's a bit in the ask. Although the UVXY bullish is not a good sign for the. It is tricky shit. Excuse the link. Some of the smaller short duration call sweeps and quite a few names. Disney futures going lower. So far, Job is right. But you know what I see? Here I see today. This is a chart on the SPYs. SPYs are coming. What is 410.10? Should be the short-term resistance, because this was the overnight close, and this was the unemployment number. This is the employment number. So 410 is the line in the sand. Actually, it's not the line in the sand. I don't like it. Actually, Joba might have a short-term opinion. Goes under 409, 408. We might have a short-term hiccup, but Here's the chart on the weekly on the SPYs. You know, I'd like to see the whole the 8-day. You know what? Let's see what happens. Where's the VIX? The VIX is 21. My P&L moves like it's 40, but that's good. So no fear yet. So it might be a little bit of a slow drift down and not some sort of rug pull. What happened? Something. Oh, I see what he did. He covered something. Nice. Where's DLO? DLO. Took some off. Lewis, you know it. Here's DLO. I took it off at the high, thank God. Now let me get back to one more thing on TradeGATEHub. And this is also a sentiment trader. It's an ABC up current. All right, listen, that's a plan. It's an ABC up at a current. And you know what? You're not alone in that because I saw that. If this high gets taken out, it'll change my mind. And you've been very apt. You've been very willing to adapt, Joe, to market conditions. That's one of your greatest acumens is you don't have an opinion. You're able to adapt to your opinion, and I appreciate that. What was I going to say? Now, as the SPYs here come from 414 to 410, I want to let everybody know that this is also an indicator. As a professional, and I like to call myself one. I posted this before I came on the air. Hold on, because this is how I'm going to leave it. And this is an indicator. You should know about other traders or the pros in your room. If like traders say, buy my pain. Because if a guy's usually has conviction of one you respect, he's probably going to be right not eventually, you know what I mean. Come on, what did I say, everybody? Futures holding that handle. Lewis, good plan. You know what? Whatever. Let's go. Anyway, people were getting too giddy this morning. I posted it this morning. So let's go back to you know what? Let me go back to the TradeGATEHub and see what's moving now. I said I was going to leave it off, but I'm failing to point out this wonderful amenity. All right, it's all you have to do is stay on TradeGATEHubs. Top US losers, go by percentage change. Go right here to what? HCAT. Get the chart right next to you. Hold on. RHE. Beautiful. You don't have to go to anything else. What else do I like? W space. Twilo. Where's Twilo now? Yep, they had it up. There's the 1 minute on Twilo. Great job, guys. It got back to 85. Now I'll think about it again. All right, everybody good? I don't know if I'm going to be back this afternoon because I have an engagement. ABC, move up this correctional to me. Gerard, anybody else? One more time. Let's look at this. CCL bearish, UVXOI bullish. So EMPH puts, they're hedging against, you know what? They're hedging. Somebody has a nice move in EMPH, which was a stock of the week last week. I get they're buying puts, they're hedging. Amazon bearish, that means they're buying puts. Here we are. Put call ratio is now curled higher. That means they're taking profits. All right. Listen, coach says you're not going to make the rest of the month on a half a day on a Friday or the week. It's not going to happen now. So have a plan. There's some good volatility. Gerardo, we love what you're posting. And we'll check back later, everybody. So cheers. Have a good weekend. And thanks for being with us.